Rachel Bowen Pittman. Rachel Bowen Pittman serves as Executive Director of the United Nations Association, USA, otherwise known as UNA-USA, a grassroots movement of more than 200 chapters and 20,000 members across the U.S. These chapters are dedicated to supporting the work of the United Nations in communities, on campuses, and on Capitol Hill. Rachel works to maximize UNA-USA's advocacy impact by guiding the strategic vision for the organization, overseeing membership expansion, and managing partnerships. Rachel works closely with UNA-USA's National Council and Affinity Group leadership to spearhead new initiatives that support a strong US-UN partnership. I present Rachel Bowen Pittman.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Bowen Pittman, and I'm the Executive Director of the United Nations Association of the USA. I would like to thank the UNA San Francisco chapter and UNA San Diego chapter for inviting me to give remarks today. 75 years ago, during the San Francisco conference, delegates from 50 countries came together to showcase a global commitment to international cooperation, dialogue, and shared action for peace following World War II. Leading up to this historic moment, 40 organizations, including the American Association for the United Nations, now UNA-USA, used their collective voices to advocate for the UN's formation. They understood the capacity for unified nations to build a better world for everyone, everywhere. Through their partnerships and persistent lobbying, these organizations played an important role in the creation of the UN Charter and its ratification by the US Congress. Today, 75 years later, UNA-USA members continue to lift their voices through civic engagement. We are dedicated to our mission to educate, inspire, and mobilize Americans to support the principles and vital work of the United Nations. If you are familiar with UNA-USA, you know that we achieve our mission through our public events, community partnerships, volunteering, and grassroots advocacy. So in January, when the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on the global community to participate in conversations on the role of international cooperation in building the future we want and need, we knew that UNA-USA would answer this call in a big way. We set a goal of hosting global consultations in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico in celebration of the UN's 75th anniversary. We purposely developed our UN75 consultations around partnerships and inclusion so diverse voices in our communities could be heard. Individuals from business, faith-based communities, civil society, and politics came together to answer the UN's three big questions. What kind of future do we want to create? Are we on track to secure a better world? And what action is needed to help us build a brighter future? To prompt honest dialogues and generate feedback on how the UN can best equip individuals and communities to address the current challenges that our world faces, we use various engagements from polling questions to open-ended discussions. Opportunities were provided to express views on how the world would look if current trends continued and how these trends will make positive or negative impacts on the world. As I participated in several consultations, I noticed that while people came from different backgrounds, life experiences, and outlooks on life, our visions for the future were more alike than different. It was not surprising that their hopes and dreams centered around the UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as good health, reduced inequality, climate action, and no poverty. They believed that the only way to achieve these goals was through increased coordination between governments, organizations, and individuals. While there were mixed feelings about whether we will be better off, worse off, or the same the next 25 years, there was an acknowledgement that each of us plays an integral role in shaping our future. Every time I completed a UN75 consultation, I walked away with a sense of community. I felt proud that UNA-USA provided a platform for everyday people to come together and discuss their concerns and hopes for their local communities and the world. If there were disagreements, people were open and listened with empathy. They supported each other's dreams and desires to take action now so that future generations have the means to survive and thrive. For me, the UN75 consultations represent how citizens and governments should interact on a daily basis. And through this spirit of cooperation, the UN Sustainable Development Goals can be achieved by 2030. UNA USA's participation in the UN75 global consultations was unprecedented because we reached our goal of capturing voices from all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, even though everything went virtual due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We also recommitted ourselves to strengthening our advocacy for strong U.S. leadership in the UN and getting more involved at the local, state, and federal level. We know that in order to have a brighter future in the next 25 years, when the United Nations turns 100, we must come together and stand united. Thank you once again for taking the time today to reflect on the UN Charter, and I look forward to your engagement in supporting the work of the United Nations and the Sustainable Development Goals. I hope you all stay safe and stay well.